Hi, welcome you all to this special YouTube class on Unacademy Unlock platform. Today, as part of our special class, we'll be looking at one of the important topics in our ethics paper. One of the important topics in our ethics paper, Hindu philosophy. This topic is very important not only from your ethics point of view, it is also important from it is also important from our general studies papers. It is also important from our general studies papers. Why? Because in our essay paper, every year, if you look at last year's essay paper, almost all the essays are philosophical essays, and all of them are related to this Hindu philosophy. So let us try to look at what is this Hindu philosophy, how can we understand this, and what are the important features, how it is different from other philosophies and everything else. Before we start our classes, before we start our class, let us look at what are the courses offered on an academy platform. As you can see it on your screen, Unacademy Unbox 2021, 6 months free. If you are taking a subscription, you will get a 6 months free subscription on any subscription of 1 year or above. Then we have this annual price hike is there on 9th and 16th December. It must have been increased on 9th by 1000 rupees, and in another 2 days time it is increased by 3000 rupees. This is a mega, and then you will have more also increase later. So it is better if you take admission as early as possible. Then proceeding further, these are the batches that you find here. You have batches for UPSC preparation competency batch for 2022 GS, and also you have a 2023 batch also. Then optional carnival, you have 6 optional courses launched from 8th December. Then another 4 optional courses will be launched from 15th December. This is what the courses you can see. You can join all these courses with our code PKS10, right? And then there is also this free test series for UPSC CSE. We have it on Mondays. Mrinal will be taking the test series, 20 MCQs, 20 minutes every Monday at 8 p.m. Then a daily current affairs test series, Monday to Friday 7:30 p.m. Then Abhiyan daily static quiz, Monday to Friday 10 a.m. You can enroll. It is free of cost. Then you have UPSC CSE Combat, 12th December. It must have been over. 56 questions, and you will get a huge amount of prizes. Once you come out on top. Then level up your UPSC preparation with the iconic subscription. You have live mentoring, study planner, then mains question answer practice also. Mains question answer practice also. Then these are all the courses that are offered on an academy platform. So let us come back and look at what we are discussing now. This Hindu philosophy. As I mentioned, you can this Hindu philosophy is very important from our not only ethics paper point of view, it is also important from other papers point of view also in general studies, especially essays. So what is this Hindu philosophy? According to various philosophers, where do we find this philosophy, and what are the implications of that philosophy? These are all the things that we will be discussing now. And as and when you have any kind of doubts, you can always ask. For the next 1 hour or so, let us try to find out all these things, right? First of all, where can we find this Hindu philosophy? I just try to put it in a very simple format, very simple format, question answer format. In fact, this is one of the beauties of Hindu philosophy. All these are asked in a very simple question format. In Sanskrit, we call it as Prashnottar. That means the disciple will ask the questions and the guru will answer those questions. And that is what let us try to do as part of understanding this Hindu philosophy. And where can we find this Hindu philosophy? As you can see it on your screen, where can we find this Hindu philosophy? We can find this in Upanishads, Vedas, Ramayana, and then Mahabharata, and most importantly, it is not Mahabharata, it is in Bhagavad Gita, and most importantly, you find it in Bhagavad Gita. So these are all the documents where you can find this Hindu philosophy: Ramayana, Mahabharata, Vedas, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. Then proceeding further, right? What is this essence of Hindu philosophy? What exactly is the essence of Hindu philosophy? This Hindu philosophy, as we say, goes beyond the Western philosophers. It goes beyond the Western philosophies who believe that the essence of human life is happiness. If you happen to read all the philosophies in our ethics paper, right from Immanuel Kant to Epicurus to everyone else, Aristotle to everyone else, the essence of human life is always to remain happiness forever. And that is where we talk about teleological philosophers also. The objective of human life is to remain happy forever. That is what Western philosophies and Western philosophers say. That is what Western philosophies and Western philosophers say. The essence of human life is always to remain happy forever. But what we say here is that Hindu philosophy goes beyond the concept of happiness. Right? If Western philosophers say that the essence of human life is happiness, then what is Hindu philosophy? We say that it goes beyond this concept of happiness. Then what it is? According to Hindu philosophy, the essence of human life is what we call self-realization, self-actualization, or moksha, liberation of the soul. That is what we say. Let us try to spend a little bit of time here on this one. What is self-realization? What is self-actualization? And what is this moksha? Let us try to find out. As the name itself indicates, self-realization means realizing our true self, realizing our true identity, self-actualization, moksha. So what is this? Let us simply try to find out. Let us simply try to find out what is this. What we are saying here is that according to Hindu philosophy, there is what is called recycle era. We are it believes in the reincarnation principle. What is this reincarnation principle? It says that the soul within us is permanent. When the soul enters into a body, we call it as birth. When the soul leaves the body, we call it as death. When the soul enters into the body, we call it as birth. When it leaves the body, we call it as death. And the soul keeps on entering into the body and leaving the body. For how long? For how many times? Till it is able to realize its true self. What do we mean by that? A little bit more confusing. What do we mean by that? Let us start from the beginning. Let us start from the beginning. It is said that there is only one soul in the world in the beginning of this universe. That is what is called divine soul or Paramatma or God. So what did God do? God has incarnated himself into human being. The soul within the God, the divine soul, has incarnated itself into human being. And then once the soul of the God, the divine soul, enters into human body, it forgets the fact that it is none other than the divine soul. It forgets the fact that it is none other than God. And God has said that this soul within our body, He said that this soul within our body, use this body as an instrument to realize the ultimate truth of life. That is what is called self-realization or self-actualization. What is the ultimate truth that we are talking about here? The ultimate truth that we are talking about here is the fact that the soul within our body is the soul within our body is none other than the divine soul, that is God. That means what Hindu philosophy ultimately says is that we must realize the fact that we are none other than God. We must realize the fact that we are none other than God. That is the ultimate objective of human life. This is what Hindu philosophy says. Self-realization or self-actualization. Then what? After realizing the fact that we are God, then what? That is where we talk about moksha. For example, in this life, with the help of our body, the inner soul within us realize that it is none other than God, the divine soul. Then what? Then immediately, when the body leaves, when the soul leaves the body, that is when we die, we will not again get back to this cycle of birth and death. What happens to the soul then? The soul will immerse itself into divine soul, merge itself into divine soul, and that is the liberation, ultimate liberation of the soul. It will not come back. It will not come back into this cycle of birth and death. We don't have to take birth again. Once we realize the fact that once we realize the fact that we are none other than God, once we had this kind of self-actualization or self-realization, then we will not again go back to this cycle of birth and death. The soul within us, the soul within us will go back to the divine soul. Please remember, this is where we started. God has incarnated himself. God has incarnated himself into human beings. He has put his soul into the human body, and he said that he has asked the soul to use this human body as an instrument to realize its real identity. Once it is realized, the soul will go back to God. It will merge itself with God. Now, if it is not, what happens then? If our soul has not realized the fact that it is none other than God in this life, again it will go back to this cycle of birth and death. For how long? For how many lives we have to take birth and we have to die? It can be 1 billion. It can be more than that. It can be more than that. You have to take birth and you have to die, take birth again, die, take birth again, die. And all through the life, we have to work towards this self-realization or self-actualization. This is the essence of what we call human life. Right? As I mentioned, if you have any doubts, you can always ask them here. This is the essence of human life. Now, The next question that we have to ask here in Hindu philosophy is what do we mean by the fact that we are gods? What is the meaning of this word God? What is God? That is what we are saying here. What is God? And what are the implications of being God? And what do we do when we become God? These are all the things, very interesting things that we will try to understand as we proceed. Next, as you can see here on the screen, who are the proponents of this Hindu philosophy? Who are the proponents of this Hindu philosophy? You can find Adi Shankaracharya, one of the most popular proponents of Hindu philosophy. Adi Shankaracharya. Recently, you must have seen our Prime Minister, he went in Kedarnath to inaugurate Adi Shankaracharya's, he died there. Adi Shankaracharya, it is said that he died there. From there he reached heaven, Kailash. That is what they say. Adi Shankaracharya, in the modern times, Swami Vivekananda, we have Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Mahatma Gandhi, Aurobindo. They are all proponents of this Hindu philosophy. They are all proponents of Hindu philosophy. Right? But where do we find extensively this Hindu philosophy? As I mentioned, Bhagavad Gita. Song Celestial, Bhagavad Gita. If you translate that into English, it is called Song Celestial. So let us proceed and look at what we are discussing again. So what we have said is that all of us have a soul within us. This soul must realize the fact that it is none other than the divine soul. What does it mean really? That is what you can see it on the screen here. What are the important features of this Hindu philosophy? This Hindu philosophy is based on this concept of Advaita. It is based on this concept of Advaita, also known as a non-duality in English. Dvaita means duality, Advaita means non-duality. What do we mean by this non-duality? Because you must have heard about this Advaita. Where everywhere, you must have heard about this. But what is this exactly Advaita? What is this so-called non-duality? Right? What is this Advaita? Right? What does it mean? It means that there is no difference between our Antaratma, inner soul, and Paramatma, divine soul. That means that means there is no difference for us between us and the God. There is no difference between us as human beings, as individuals, and God. The soul within us is none other than the divine soul. This is what I said, self-realization or self-actualization. Right? Let me tell you a small story here to explain this. Lord Ram, he won the battle, killed Ravan, comes back to Ayodhya, living peacefully. One day, he had a very serious doubt in his mind. Had a very, very serious doubt in his mind. It was in the middle of the night. In that middle of the night, he just left his palace, went into the forest, and went to the ashram of Valmiki. Valmiki had written Ramayana. So he went to the ashram of Valmiki. It was in the middle of the night. So obviously, if someone comes to our house in the middle of the night, we will not open the door. We will ask the person, who are you? Why did you come here? It's such an odd time. That is what Valmiki also has said. Valmiki has said, Who are you? Why did you come? And Lord Ram replied, that is my question also. I want to find answer to my question. What is the question? Who am I in this world? Who am I? What is my identity in this world? Who am I? What is my identity in this world? Am I the king of Ayodhya? That is my profession. Am I the husband of Sita? That is my relationship. Am I brother to my younger brothers? That's part of my family. But who am I? What is my identity in this world? This is what he wanted to find answer to. And this is what exactly Hindu philosophy also talks about. It talks about the fact that we must always work towards finding our true identity in this world. And what is our true identity in this world? And what is this true identity in this world? What exactly is this? As I said, what is our true identity in this world? We are none other than the divine soul. That is what we said. We are not different from God. Proceeding further, this Advait philosophy has been explained by Adi Shankaracharya in a more, it has been explained by Adi Shankaracharya in a more, what we call, clear-cut manner. What did Adi Shankaracharya had to say about this Advait philosophy? What did he say? As you can see here on the screen, it also means the bodies are different, the soul is the same. It also means the bodies are different, the soul is the same. What do we mean by that? As you can see it again on the screen here, as you can see it again on the screen here, what do we mean by that? Not who am I to me, not that is not identity. Who am I in this world? Who am I to me is not identity. Who am I in this world? What is my identity in this world? That is what we are trying to find out. What is my identity in this world? Right? So, as you can see here, right? What we are saying here is that according to Adi Shankaracharya, what is this Advait philosophy? As I said, Adi Shankaracharya is the one who aggressively, spoke about this Advait philosophy. He said that it means the bodies are different, but the soul is the same. That is why he said, Adi Shankaracharya, he said that what we see in front of us is unreal, hallucination, Maya. That is what he says. The reality is that the duality that we see in front of us is not true. For example, the person sitting next to you, the person sitting in front of you, the person sitting behind you, we think that all of them are different from us. That is what Adi Shankaracharya says unreal. We think that they are all different from us. Why? Because you can see them in front of you. And there is nothing wrong in believing that they are different from us. Because they are different. Their bodies are different, their identities are different, everything is different. If this is the case, then why did Adi Shankaracharya says that it is nothing but our hallucination or Maya? It is nothing but our hallucination or Maya. Why? Because the bodies may be different. The soul in all of us is the same. That is what he says. Bodies may be different, the soul is the same. The same soul has incarnated itself into many bodies. Yes, not spiritually, Suniti, otherwise also All of us are the same, not spiritually, otherwise also. Right? All of us are the same. Ramakrishna Paramahansa has explained this concept of Advaita in a very, very simple manner. He said that you can see the sun in the sky. The sun in the sky is only one. There is only one sun in the sky. And then on the ground, there are 100 water pots. There are 100 water pots full of water. When you see, what you can see there? You can see 100 suns, right? The image of sun, 100 suns. Does it mean that there are 100 suns? Does it mean that do we have 100 suns? No. There is only one sun whose 100 images can be seen in 100 different pots which are full of water. Which are full of water. In the same manner, the soul within us is the same. The soul within me is the same as the soul within 700 crore people in this world. The soul in me is the same as the soul in 7 billion people in this world. The bodies are different. That is what we say non-duality or Advaita or oneness. That is what we say Advaita or non-duality or oneness. And what is the soul? And what is the soul? Ultimately, this soul is nothing but the divine soul. Right? This soul is nothing but the divine soul. Exactly. Pot symbolizes human bodies. Exactly. This soul is nothing but the divine soul. So that is what Adi Shankaracharya says. I said, the question is about finding out who am I. Answer to the question, who am I in this world? This is the question that was raised by Lord Ram with Valmiki. This is also the same question that was raised by Adi Shankaracharya through his Advaita philosophy. What is the answer to the question? Adi Shankaracharya asks rhetorical questions. What is the rhetorical question that he will ask? He will ask the question, am I the sky? Then he will say, no, I am not the sky. He will ask the question, am I the mountains? No, I am not the mountain. Then he will ask a question, am I the water? No, I am not the water. Am I the forest? No, I am not the forest. Am I the fire? No, I am not the fire. Am I the earth? No, I am not the earth. Then who am I? Who am I? And that is when he answers, who am I? And he says that Aham Brahmasmi. I am God. I am the God. Aham Brahmasmi. That is what my true identity in this world. That is what Adi Shankaracharya says. I am God. I am the God. That is what my identity. That means I am none other than the divine soul that has created me. I am the creator as well as the creation. If you look at it, the difference between Hindu philosophy and Hindu religion and Islam or Christianity or any other religions is that in Islam or Christianity, there is a very rigid hierarchy between the devotee and the God. The devotee is always subordinate to God. In Islam, Allah is the God. Allah does not have any form also, human form also. In Christianity, Jesus Christ. Right? Hindu religion is the only religion which says that human beings are capable of becoming gods. We are capable of becoming gods and we are gods. We should always try to become God. That is the difference. It says that even an ordinary person also can become God. How? By understanding this Advaita philosophy. Then, to become God, to become God, you should know what is God. I said, you should know what is God. Then what is God? Who is God? We can easily answer. Who is God? We can easily answer. Depending on your faith, we can say, it is Ram or Krishna or Shiva or Christ or Allah or anyone else, depending on your faith. I am not asking who is God. My question is, what is God? How did they become gods? What is God? What are the qualities of God? If you have to become God, you should know the qualities of God. What are these qualities? What we say is that God means love. Unconditional universal love is what we call God. Unconditional universal love. That is what simply we say is God. God means selflessness. God means sacrifice. God means selflessness. God means sacrifice. Exactly. Banerjee, you're asking a very good question. Why did the divine soul, you know, divided itself into so many other souls? Why? Because God has to create this universe. God has to create this universe. He has to create this universe. And on a lighter side, God also requires entertainment. If he is only one person, God also becomes monotonous and boring. If he sees so many people, then he will also get his own entertainment, time pass. Right? Why did he create? I said he created this entire, he created so many human beings, so many animals, so many species, because that is what God is expected to do, creating the universe. That is why we call him as creator. If there is no universe, if there are no people, then we would not have done all these things. God has created, and he said that you please go back to the human body and use the entire life only to have this self-actualization or self-realization. Use this human body to achieve this self-actualization. And he said that as and when you require any kind of help, I will come and help you for this objective. And you have to fight so many villains in the process. See, Banerjee, right? You go to a movie, right? When you go to a movie, when does the movie become interesting in nature? When do movies become interesting? You have so many characters. You have the hero, you have the villain, you have the heroine, and they will be fighting among themselves. Hero will be fighting the villain, and then finally he will be killing the villain, and he will be getting the heroine, and that is what it makes interesting, right? That is how it makes so interesting. In the same manner, God also wanted to make this entire universe interesting in nature. That is the reason why he has created so many people. He said that go and fight all the evils, try to realize my true self and use this human body. Exactly, right? That is what. And he will be there, looking at us. How we are fighting our villains. What are those villains? We'll talk about little bit later. What are the villains? Who are the villains we have to fight to get God? Right? That is what. So coming back here, we are talking about what is God. I said, what is God? What exactly is God? I said God means unconditional, universal, in a unconditional, universal love. God means selflessness. God means sacrifice. Take the case of Jesus Christ. Why do we call Jesus Christ God? Why do we call Ram God? Why do we call Shiva God? What is common to all of them? Sacrifice. Jesus Christ sacrificed his life for the sake of others. Ram sacrificed his kingdom for the sake of his father. Shiva drank poison for the sake of humanity. This is what you can see common to all of them, sacrifice. And while sacrificing, they never demanded anything in return. Selflessness. They never demanded anything in return. Selflessness. And then they had only what we call unconditional and universal love. Jesus Christ, even when he was about to die, he was pleading with God, please don't punish all these Roman soldiers who are causing harm to me because they don't know what they are doing. That means you don't have any kind of negative emotions towards all those people who are causing harm to you. That is what is called divinity, and that is what is called God. And as I said, we must use this human life to realize this essence of life, right? We have to use this human life to realize this. So I did the correct. Exactly. Banerjee, you can also entertain yourself provided you become God. You know, what kind of entertainment? What kind of entertainment that we are talking about here? All these emotions that we have, all these emotions, love, anger, jealousy, frustration, revenge, fear, all these emotions are part of our entertainment only because they are not real. None of these emotions are what we call real. And that is the reason why God will be looking at us and having getting entertained by our silly and stupid actions because none of them are real. None of them are real. And we are spending all our life in this unreal world thinking that that is real. Right? Nothing is permanent in this world. Nothing is permanent in this world. And what is the biggest myth of human life? What is the biggest tragedy of human life? The biggest tragedy of human life is that all of us know that none of us are permanent on this earth. All of us know that we are only temporary. Some people will live for 50 years, other people 80 years, some others 100 years, but everyone will have to die, right? That is the reality. All of us know this reality, but what is the tragedy here? The tragedy is that we behave as if we are going to be here forever, and that is where God gets a lot of entertainment. We behave as if we are going to be here forever. We earn so much amount of money which we cannot spend even in our lifetime. But why do we earn money? Why? Because we live in this hallucination that we are going to be here forever. We commit so many crimes to stay in power, knowing fully well that nothing is permanent in this world. What happened to Aurangzeb? What happened to Akbar? What happened to you know you know what happened to Alexander? Alexander, he thought that he had conquered the entire world. Then what happened? He died. When he died, did he take even a single, a piece of land on this earth with himself? That is where, wasting our life. That is the reason why we say essence of human life is not about doing all those things. Essence of human life is all about realizing our true self. That is becoming God, realizing the fact that we are God. And out of 7 billion people on this earth at this point of time, how many of them working towards this goal? Maybe not even one. That is what we say the tragedy of human life. We live as if we are going to be here forever on this earth. And that is what God is also telling us. Please come out of this hallucination. Realize your true self. You are not what you see in front of you. You are completely different. Realize your true identity. Find out who you are. That is the essence of your life. Right? Then, proceeding further, as you can see it on the screen, what are the implications of this Advaita philosophy? Right? Exactly. Sunidhi, why should we be ambitious to achieve anything in life if we realize that nothing will come with us after death? That is what I said, the biggest mysteries of human life. Why people are so ambitious? Exactly. Sunidhi, you study about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What is the highest level of need according to Abraham Maslow? Self-actualization. So people can think about self-actualization only when all other lower level needs are satisfied. So what do? We are not highly ambitious. We are less ambitious, Sunidhi. That is where the problem. We are more than happy with self-esteem. We are more than happy with our position, power, respect in the organization. We are more than happy with our family, and we are more than happy with our relationships. And we don't want to go beyond that. A prime minister, he always thinks about only one thing. That is, how can he get himself elected again in the next elections? A businessman thinks about only one thing. That is, how he can earn more profits. For them, their intellectual capacity is limited only to immediate satisfaction. They cannot go beyond that. And that is what exactly God also says. Go beyond all those things and think about the highest level of need, self-actualization. That is the essence of human life. Why we cannot go think about all those things? Because of the fact that we are living in a materialistic society. That is the reason why it is almost impossible for all of us to think about this highest level of need. Think about this highest level of need. Right? Exactly. Exactly. We realize this highest level of need only when we satisfy other needs. The problem is that we don't have any limit as far as other needs are concerned. I give you the example of Alexander. He has conquered a huge amount of territory, half of the world he has conquered. Still, he was not happy. Why? Because as we study, there is a limit to our need, but not to our greed. Within no time, our need becomes greed. That is when we know we are caught in this vicious cycle. That is the reason why those who get detached from all the needs as well as the greed are the ones who will become self-actualized. That is what we study also. As you can see it on the screen here, what are the implications of this Advaita philosophy? I have said, it means that all of us are one and the same. That means we have all these emotions like love, joy, anger, jealousy, revenge, fear, frustration only because of duality. Let me, just explain this in a very simple manner. For example, we can easily differentiate between people. If I ask you, whom do you like, among your friends, X or Y? You can say that I like X more than Y. And if we have anger, we have joy, we have jealousy, we have revenge, we have fear, we have frustration. If other person sitting next to us has a weapon in his hand, we fear because we fear that he will kill us. But if the same weapon is there in our hand, we don't have fear. And if we become successful, we don't feel jealous about ourselves. On the other hand, if other person becomes successful, we feel jealous about other person. And if I ask you, which one do you like the most, your right hand or left hand? You will say, what kind of stupid question is this? So when it comes to other people, we have all those emotions, right? When it comes to other people, we have all those emotions. But when it comes to ourselves, we don't have these emotions. Why? Because everything is part of us only. We cannot differentiate between our right hand and the left hand. Why? Because both of them belong to us only. We don't feel jealous about ourselves. We don't, get angry at ourselves. We don't fear about ourselves. If there is weapon in my right hand, my left hand does not fear it. Why? Because both of us belong to us. So what Adi Shankaracharya says here is that we have all these emotions like love, joy, anger, frustration, jealousy, revenge only because of the fact that we live in this hallucination called the sense of duality. Then let us overcome this sense of duality. When we believe that the other person sitting in next to us is none other than our own incarnation, do we have these emotions? If he has a weapon in his hand, should I fear? I don't, because his body is same as my body. If he is hungry, what I will do? My soul will feel his hunger. I will give him food. While giving food to him, will I ask any kind of recognition or money from him? Not at all. Why? Because that is what I am doing for myself. So the moment I overcome this sense of duality, what will I have? I have only universal and unconditional love. I will become selfless. I will become God. That is what we say here. I will help other people. Why? Because helping others means helping myself. If other person is having any problem with his health, I will immediately go. I will immediately go and I will, provide medicines to that other person. Why? Because my soul feels the pain of other person, and when I'm helping that other person, it is not like I'm helping any other person. It is like only I'm helping myself only. That is the essence. Similarly, if other person is successful, I will feel the happiness. It is just like I am becoming successful. I will not have any jealousy. I will not have any anger. I will not have any revenge. I will not have any fear. I will not have any frustration. I will see the entire world as my own incarnation. In the process, I will become God. This is what we say the essence of a Hindu philosophy. Then, how to realize this? How to realize this essence of Hindu philosophy? Yes, Arka is asking a question here. Even if we realize about the true self of life, achieve self-actualization, we are going to die and forget. Is it better to enjoy a materialistic world than, you know, that is what, Arka, you are asking a very good question. You know, what is, materialistic life? You know, what is materialistic life? What, Arka, you have to remember is that the so-called materialistic world that you are talking about is again temporary in nature. Take the case of love. For example, you love your parents, you love your family, you love your friends. But is it permanent? The more love you have towards those people, the more pain you will have to endure when they leave you. When they leave you, the pain will be unbearable. And for the rest of your life, the pain it will be there in your heart. You will never be a normal person. Similarly, you have all those materialistic comforts. Today you have money, riches and everything. Tomorrow everything goes. Then again you will suffer. Do you want that kind of enjoyment or happiness, or right? Do you want that kind of in a enjoyment or happiness? Or do you want a permanent happiness, what we call enlightenment? Do you want permanent happiness wherein you know you will be happy 24 hours till you die? That is what it is. And that is what the essence of human life according to Hindu philosophy. As long as you are attached to something, as long as you are attached to something, you will never be happy in your life, because that attachment will always be going away from you at any point of time. The money, it can go away from you. You are the prime minister today. Tomorrow you lose elections. Then the pain will be unbearable. Look at, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, they enjoyed power for 10 years. Now you can see them frustrated, angry, jealous, everything. Can they ever be happy? Can we call that is happiness which is temporary in nature? Obviously not. That is the reason why, you know, that is the reason why we say that we have to search for real happiness. This real happiness will come through only detachment. That is what we say, through detachment. Real happiness comes through only through self-actualization or self-realization. It comes through enlightenment. And how to realize this? As you can see it on the screen here, Lord Krishna talks about this in Bhagavad Gita. He said that there are four different ways or paths to realize this self-actualization. First one is Jnana Yoga, second one is Bhakti Yoga, third one is Raj Yoga, and the fourth one is Karma Yoga. These are the different ways of realizing God according to Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. What is this Jnana Yoga? Knowledge. You can realize God through knowledge. What is that knowledge? Which is what we have discussed right now. Asking what is God? What are the qualities of God? How can I become God? And what should I do to become God? You realize you try to get the knowledge of God. In the process, you will become God also. You will realize that means God means selflessness. You will become selfless. God means universal love. You will become you will have universal love. God means unconditional love. That means when you are loving other people, there are no conditions or strings attached to it. God means selflessness. God means sacrifice. Then you will have what is called permanent happiness. Then you will have only permanent happiness. That is what we say in a Jnana Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, devotion. You are devoted to God. People like Tulasidas, people like Chagaraj, Chagaya, Annamaya, they realize God through their devotion. Raj Yoga, that is what we call through meditation and yoga. Meditation and yoga. You meditate upon God for years and years together, and then finally you realize God. According to Lord Krishna, the best way and easiest way to reach Him is through Karma Yoga. Karma means action. That is what. What does it mean? Karma Yoga is considered easy to follow, as you can see it on the screen. It is very easy to follow. How? Through what Lord Krishna calls it as Nishkam Karma, desireless action. Kam in Sanskrit means desire. Nishkam means desireless action. That means whenever we are performing any action, we should not expect anything in return from that action. As I said, I am giving food to a person who is sitting next to me. When I am giving food to that person, I should not expect anything from him. Not even a thank you also. When I am preparing for UPSC examination, I should not expect anything. The moment I attach myself to the outcome, I will never be happy. The reason why in UPSC preparation, people will always lose their peace of mind is because they attach so much to the outcome. In the process, they lose all their happiness also. That is what Lord Krishna says. He says that perform the work for the sake of the work and do not expect anything in return. Leave everything to God. Right? Expectations are never neutral. You know, it should be who says expectations are neutral? Expectations are never neutral. They are never neutral. You expect either good for you or you expect something bad for others. Right? Yeah, Suniti, in today's world, is it possible to get moksha? As till the time people attain adulthood, they don't get the knowledge about God. And by the time we do so many karmas. That is what Suniti, you know, to attain this self-actualization or moksha, you need, a lot of, blessings from your past life. There are some people, you know, who spend all their life from their childhood onwards only on attaining this moksha. Or someone like Gautam Buddha, you can see Sunidhi, someone like Gautam Buddha, he had attained this moksha at the age of 32. So it does not mean that you have to do all those things from your childhood onwards. That is the reason why the moment you become an adult, once you realize, then you have to work for all those things. Right? That's what. So coming back here, is it possible? Yes. This selfless action, is it possible by overcoming our desires? As we study, desire is the root cause of all evil. What are the evils? Why? All evils are associated with desire only. All evils are associated with desire only. What are those evils? As we see here, Kam, Krodh, Moh, Mad, Matshar, and Lobh. This is what Lord Krishna says. We are badly influenced by these six evils, six vices. All of them are directly linked to desire. Kam, you know, Kam means when the extreme form of desire is called what we call Kam. Krodh, anger, Moh, attraction, Mad, ego, Matsarya, in a, in a jealousy. All of them are linked to what we call this desire. If we can overcome desire, then we can easily become self-actualized person. This is what a Mother Teresa has tried her best in her life. This is what a Mahatma Gandhi always thought about. But it is very difficult to overcome the desire. For example, Gautam Buddha, in spite of all his, in spite of all his teachings and everything, he said that he had a desire. His desire was to see that people in the world do not have any desire at all. Why? Because desire is the root cause of all evil. He wanted to see a world wherein people don't have any desire. But that was again a desire on the part of Gautam Buddha. He himself could not overcome his own desire. Whether it's good or bad, that's a different thing. He himself could not overcome his own desire. That is the reason why this moksha is almost very, very difficult, because we cannot overcome our desires. We cannot overcome our attachments. We are attached to something. Most of us, if we get in the morning, if we don't have a cup of coffee, then our entire day would look like hell. If we don't read the newspaper early in the morning after we get up in the morning, then our entire day will get wasted. Because we are so much attached. When we are hungry, we want the most tastiest food in front of us. We are so much attached to all these things. That is where the problem also. This attachment, that is what Lord Krishna says. We can overcome all our desires only through detachment. We must detach ourselves from everything that we see in front of us. We must detach from the people, right? We must detach ourselves from, the name, fame, position, power that comes with everything. You know, yes, exactly. Arka, this is what, what Hindu philosophy says. That is the reason why Hindu philosophy says that try for it. towards the end of your life, you know, there are four ashrams according to the philosophy. The last one is sannyas. It says that at the age of 60, leave everything and work for self-actualization. That is what Hindu philosophy says. Right? What you are saying is true. But is it possible, at the age of 60, leaving everything? Look at our politicians, 80 years, 90 years, 70 years. They don't leave. Because for 60 years you are so much attached. Suddenly, is it possible for you to leave everything and go into the forest? Obviously not. It has to come from, it has to come from the beginning itself. For example, you are preparing for UPSC examination. Can you study in the last 1 month and clear the examination? Arka, it is not possible. It has to come. It has to start from a very early stage. That, yeah, Sunidhi, it's a very good question. You know, how will you know whether a particular person has attained moksha? None know. But how do we know that Gautam Buddha had attained moksha? Sunidhi, these are the things, we will not know. We have to experience. There are some things in life we have to experience. You will know. Once you attain moksha, you will know. Right? And the problem is that those who have attained moksha will never say that I have attained moksha. Please remember, if anyone says that I am a self-actualized individual or enlightened soul, then they are not. Those who are attained, those who have attained moksha will never say that they have attained. And those who have not attained, they don't know how to attain it. That is where the problem is. Right? So how can it be done? As I said that when we realize that the other person in front of us is none other than our own incarnation. When we realize that other person in front of us is our own incarnation, then we will not have any all those sorry we will not have any those emotions and sentiments. Then we will become completely detached. Right? But is it possible? It is extremely difficult, but definitely possible. It is extremely difficult, but definitely possible. That's the ultimate essence of human life according to Hindu philosophy. This is the ultimate essence of human life. That is self-actualization, self-realization through detachment, through nishkankar. Right? I think the time is also up. We have to stop it here today. Otherwise, we could have continued, but it's only for 1 hour. So I have tried to put everything in 1 hour. Right? Tomorrow also we'll be taking up other important classes. So tomorrow at the same time we have other topics also from this year main examination point of view. Right? Till then, take care of yourself. Best of luck.